start started. Cool. Hi guys. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Ha 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 ha. Alright, I'm gonna check on the iPod. Make sure that we are actually live. Refresh. Come on. Make sure it's working. If you're here, say hello. Hi! Hi, Elia. Or Elia, I'm sorry. I butcher names. I apologize. Hello! Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today's gonna be really... Yay! I'm live. Cool. Today is gonna be really mellow. Open this up so I can go ahead and watch for comments. So if I look down every once in a while, there's a bit of a lag for Facebook Live if you're actually on the live page for seeing comments. So looking down at the iPod so I can look at comments. But today is gonna be fun. I'm here with my tea, and yes, taro and tea. I have my tea. It's a chai kind of day because it's cold and rainy like it's been for the past few days in Colorado, which is awesome. It's going to be really relaxed. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to... A couple of you probably already know because I gave spoilers. Hi, Katrina. Welcome. I see you. A couple of you already have spoilers, and that's probably why you joined the group, but I'm going to announce some awesome fun stuff today. But first, we're going to have some fun. So, I brought my lovely Witch's Tarot deck with me, and we're gonna interview my deck. And I wanted to do this, one, because just to have some fun and get to know my cards again, because even though I've had them for forever, it's still good to get, you know, a refresher. And then also, we got a bunch of new people to the group, and I really wanted to show this is really the first step. So for my Start Reading Tarot Intuitively course, this is literally the first thing I have you do after choosing a deck is interview it, and you do a side-by-side interview with me. So we're going to only do a couple cards. We're going to interview my Witch's Tarot deck. And funny story about this deck, I first got this 2014? Yeah. Was when I actually bought it. So those who say that the cards must be gifted, bull hockey. You don't have to have your first deck of cards gifted to you. My first actual deck of cards was the Enchanted World Tarot, and it was okay. The imagery really didn't speak to me. It's kind of Renaissance-y meets geometric patterns. And the biggest thing, though, is that deck hated me. It was originally given to me by my roommate because she's like, I don't use these anymore. I don't ever use them, so you can have them if you want. And I was like, okay, tarot cards. Never tried those before. Well, let's take a look. And the cards hated me. Because you're not Izzy. I'm sorry, I'm not her. But yeah, it was... You'll get decks like that when people gift you things, especially if they've used them. Even after clearing the energy and everything like that, the deck now, years later, is finally starting to like me. But, yeah, the Witch's Tarot, where I was, back when I first starting reading, I was in college in Alamosa in Colorado. So if you don't know what that is, imagine a tiny town where the only hub really is that there's a college there. We had one Walmart, one McDonald's, the JCPenney, you could tell, was built in the 50s and they never updated it. It was really tiny. So finding a shop for crystals or natural medicine or tarot cards was out of the question. So I, like any college student that's broke and has no car, went on my friendly friend Barnes & Noble and got my deck. And I got the Witch's Tarot because I really loved the imagery of it. Then actually after reading it, the description for the author, hello Jency, I believe is how you say your name. Hello, I see you. Say hello. When I first read the actual description of the author, she was talking about how she based it off of building a magical practice, which was awesome because I was really into that at first, not doing tarot. Tarot was mainly for me at that point. So this deck I've had for forever. It likes me, at least I hope it still likes me. And we're going to pull a couple cards today and see if it still likes me. And if you have your deck with you, I encourage you to do the same, even if it's an Oracle deck, or Lenormand, or Marcellus, as I believe how you say it. Whatever deck you have, from Voodoo to Rider White, I suggest you get it. We'll make this fun. And then at the end of it, I'll announce surprise for everybody in the group. As I'm still getting everything together, I'm going to put the finishing touches on the surprise today. But yeah. Okay, so first thing you do when you get a deck, before you even interview it, sit there and do something really mundane, like watch Law and Order, or bake a cake, and while you're waiting for it in the oven, sit there and shuffle your cards. Because it's one thing to be like, ooh, pretty card, and just stare at the cards, but it's quite another thing to actually sit there and shuffle. And I say this, like, actually shuffle it and start moving it around, because one, you get the feel for your hands, you see if you like the weight, and then also your energy is transferred into the deck. Because you know everything is made of energy, including yourself. So when we do things, we spend energy, including shuffle cards, and the energy gets put in the deck. Super easy, super fun. So sit there and shuffle, say for like 15 minutes. You can, when I get a new deck, I'll shuffle, I'll go run errands with the deck in my bag, like in my purse. I'll put, if it's really small, I'll put it in my pocket, but you know how women jeans are, and that never works. So it's mostly in my purse, and then while I'm running around, my energy gets transferred to it that way. But I just shuffled my deck. Super easy peasy. And now we're gonna go ahead and ask a couple questions. So how about your strengths and weaknesses as a deck, and how you feel about me? Keep it real simple. I'm not going to do my whole interview spread because that's big. And what I wanted, you might see a little box here. I wanted to actually do what I do for professional readings and put a little box right here so you can see the cards on the table. But that program's being stupid right now, so it won't let me. Let's see. So, strengths. Why do you always pull the card I hate? Okay, cool. So, why I got that face. And if you, first time in the group, or if you haven't seen any of my other videos, like if you didn't come from the YouTube channel where all the live streams, all the workshops, everything I do in the group over video is recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. So, if you haven't seen it before, I really hate the King of Wands. And I hate the King of Wands because of this deck. And it's not because it's a horrible card. The King of Wands, if you go by book terms, is like, supposed to be compassionate and driven and fiery and really happy. If you turn it upside down, he's a hothead and he's a bit of an asshole. And right now, he's just an asshole. And I got this as my card strengths. So no, I don't think my deck is an asshole. It has a habit of being that way. But just the smile on his face is aggravating. It's the smirkiest of smirks. It's somebody that, sorry for dog in the background, just one of those people just just right in the face. Just give him a haymaker, because he drives me nuts. He's like that sleazy boss that everybody hates. But, the King of Wands is a strength. Okay, let's break this down a little bit. So, again, systematic reading, which we don't do that here, we do intuitive reading, but systematic, compassionate, fiery, can be a bit of a hothead, things like that. I'm getting warmth, autumn type of energies, so perfect for this time of year. Someone who's a master at what they do, it's fire, so it's all about will. Like, I will do this, I will not be pushed around. So this deck is experienced enough to not care about what anybody has to think of it. And it's the king, so it's the structured part of the court cards. Because how I always interpret it, just in my own little tarot language, the pages are the students, like the newbies. The knights are people who put them into action. Queens are nurturing, and kings are structure. All a part of that element. So, structure part of fire. So it's will, but at the same time, it's you have your boundaries. So this tells me about my deck. Tells me the Witch's Tarot is really structured, really passionate, but at the same time, it's like a controlled fire. It's not, a page where it's all over the place. It's not, the image that comes to mind, if anybody has seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, like I posted the video for, when he first learns firebending, it goes everywhere and it burns people. So that's one thing. This deck does not do. It is not all over the place. It is experienced. It would be a firebending master. Okay, so weaknesses. This is new, and this is interesting, and I'll tell you why in a second. So I got the Three of Pentacles, which I like this version of the deck because, like I said, it's all about building up practice. So when you're building a magical practice, you're obviously studying. And this is actually one of my favorite cards for this because it's this guy sitting here with a quill, some paper, potions, and he has his familiar next to him, his little black cat right there. And it's awesome because this deck used to be specifically for learning, teaching me about a magical practice, but it's saying now its weakness is teaching, because I'm too far. There's nothing more it can really teach me, so at this point it's more the proud parent that stands in the back and will give me a refresher every now and then. So that's really interesting. And this is another reason why I like Pentacles. If we had to do favorite suits, are my favorite. Because look at this card, it's just gorgeous. I love it, and it's so creative with where they put the actual pentacles. It's in the windows. It's not, dangling in space like the sword of Damocles. It's not doing any of that. Okay, so another thing that's interesting, if we were to put these side by side, the pentacle is looking at the king. So because it no longer can teach me anything, it has turned into this. And we go over this also in my program. We look at simple little things like the directions of the cards, because he's looking this way. He's looking more downwards. Yeah, looking more downwards, but he's looking across to the king, and the king is looking straight out. So this says, because of something I've done external to the side, this has happened internal. So because I have progressed outside of working with this deck, internalizing inside the deck, its personal personality now is like this. It's like, I'm the master and I did a good job teaching you. Hello, Christina! Thank you so much. Yes, the Witch's Tarot is gorgeous. I love it. We're just going over interviewing my deck, doing a couple cards. So, what it thinks about me now is interesting. I got the High Priestess. So, I really like this High Priestess much more than the Rider-Waite, because she's like sitting on a galaxy, and instead of, having the black pillar and the white pillar, they're actually changed that, and it's a beautiful cloud mural behind it, like nature. And to me, if I think about this systematically, the High Priestess is kind of the opposite of the Magician, because the Magician is all about the physical plane, the law of attraction. He has all of his tools in front of him, so he's the master of the physical. She is the master of the spiritual. So kind of different standards here. So it thinks that I'm more of a master of the spiritual now, compared to when I first got this deck, which is awesome. Thank you, deck. You make me feel awesome. It also, if I'm looking at these, like I'm picking apart the color schemes and everything like that. So she's literally sitting on a galaxy. She's sitting on the moon. So I believe in the book it says for this card it was relating to the maiden. Yes, to the maiden, because it has the crone as the moon. So, and it had the mother as the empress. So, as the maiden, so I'm still young, I'm still kicking, but at the same time I have this kind of knowledge, which is awesome. And then looking at the colors, so very calm and collected. This woman was not going to show up in reds and pinks and yellows. She's not going to be warm. She's going to be cool and collected because she's the High Priestess, which is different than the Magician, who is in warm colors. So, a bit of comparison there. It also thinks that I would get this card when it comes to talking to deities. Specifically people that have to do with abundance and harvest. I think Demeter is Persephone's mother. Can't remember her exact name right now. But reason why I mention her is there's pomegranates on the sides here. Looking at the art, there's pomegranates. So this would tell me that I need to embrace the mother within me. The mother spiritually, you're all my tarot children, and really, encompass that part of myself and enjoy my pomegranates, because I love pomegranates. So enjoy the decadence that comes with spiritual enlightenment. So, hello, Kelly. Yes, Demeter. Thank you, Christina. You're awesome. Hello, Kelly. Say hello. Thank you for joining us. We're just interviewing the Witch's Tarot. So that's really interesting. And then let's look at comparisons again. Because, we're intuitive readers here. We're not systematic. We're not going to look at it like a book. So if we look at the directions again, this time it would be looking more out to me. It's looking at me as the reader. Because if these were laying on the table, the Three of Pentacles would still be looking at the King of Wands. So it's still an external source, something I did on the outside that has forced this change, and both the King of Wands and the High Priestess are looking at me. So that's something with introspection. Yay, hello. So that really says something, and that's something really tiny in a tarot reading. But it does say something. So then if I were to be giving this reading to somebody else, it would work very similarly. Obviously, there's some introspection going on. Obviously, you are changing something about yourself because of an outside source. And it's also interesting because these are flanking the Three of Pentacles. Both the introspection cards are flanking it. So that really says something about, it gives kind of a High Priestess imagery. She's looking out, but she's got the two pillars next to her. So it's kind of a similar thing. So I wouldn't stop learning. I wouldn't stop being a three of Pentacles. I would be continuing on that path, because you never can really stop learning. Like we were, like a couple people brought up different types of divination in this week's posts, like divination you're interested in. I would love to learn about runes too. I know that was a popular one. Pendulum work was another popular one. So things like that. you never stop learning about, especially if you only have one specialty, like tarot, but there's always more to learn beyond that. So like even right here, I bring all my tools to work with me, even if I don't use them. I have I Ching coins that I got at a local shop. So I can always finally learn these. Even though the book is huge, I can always do that. Or, you know, divining from crystals. I know that's a thing. You throw the crystals, in a bag, shake your hand around and pull out the crystal, and whatever corresponds with the crystal is your answer. So things like that. Keep being a student, but at the same time I've become a master of this particular deck. So that's just, you know, a little mini interview for my Witch's Tarot. And it's fun because I love doing side-by-sides like this. You learn something new about your deck every time you do something like this. So anytime, like I've had this deck for years, but every once in a while I'll come back and interview it again because your deck's personalities can change over time. Your deck's preferences for readings can change over time. Like I know originally this deck hated love readings. But when it comes to being a tarot reader and you do it professionally, you get a lot of love readings. So now it's more, my deck has summed it down to I hate giving readings that disappoint other people. And a lot of those times it tends to be love readings. So that's something interesting to know about your deck. It's something to really bring into perspective. Thank you so much. Christina says you're an awesome tarot mentor. You notice so many things most teachers don't even consider. Thank you. I appreciate it. And my biggest thing when it comes to tarot is the little things matter. Like in life, the little things matter. So if you're a person that is action oriented when communicating with somebody else, you're going to show up at their door with coffee, or you're going to send a flower, or you're going to do the dishes for them even if they didn't ask you to, just to go out of your way to do something nice. If you're more verbal, you're going to give them a call at the end of your day just ranting about what happened just because you want to tell them. You're going to send them good morning and good night texts. You're going to want to talk to them about everything. You want to communicate with them because you're verbal and it's how you communicate. The cards, your specific cards, are going to communicate in so many different ways. So, like for example, the Gothic Tarot, which is a really cool deck, by the way. I did a review of it. Highly recommend you grab it. It is more Alice in Wonderland meets the Necronomicon. And it's really dark and really creepy. But it talks in that kind of manner. So it's interesting because it has the devil as Cthulhu, but it also has Cthulhu again as the King of Pentacles. So what does it say about the deck to have the imagery twice? Not that the artist was lazy, but it's more, we can be addicted to things, and we can not want to leave something scary, or want to leave something. Even though it is scary to stay with it, it's a comfortability level, it's a danger you know, versus taking the chain off from around your neck and leaving. That's a danger you don't know. Because that devil could be the King of Pentacles to you. They represent stability. That would be, if both of those from that deck were to show up in a love reading for me, that would really be the actual situation and how the person in the situation is viewing who the devil is in their life. You know, they provide me financial support. I can't get divorced because it's scary. I would rather live with the monster I know than be with the monster that I don't know, kind of thing. So, things like that. And take a look at your own deck. Do a little mini interview, like I just asked my deck the strengths and weaknesses of the cards. Do something like that. It's really, really easy. It's really, really simple. And it lets you know how your deck works more. And I've talked about throughout this month with these different live streams to use your own knowledge in your tarot cards. So use what you associate with the different symbols, the different colors, things that mean to you. Use them in your reading because it's really going to give something in depth. And that's all it's doing to unlock your intuition. That's all you're really doing is just using the things you know. And then, boom, I know what this card means. I'm popping an image in my head. I'm thinking of the million nights that I've stayed up studying instead of sleeping. And then reversed, I think of all the times that I played Terraria instead of actually studying. So, things like that. Where you relate it to your actual life. So, like I'm looking at a new card. So if we want to do it intuitively again with this card and the Six of Pentacles, instead of I'm thinking of, we went over this last time where this guy, obviously he has no qualms about money. He probably was going to go invest this somewhere else, but instead he's choosing to give to children. So I'm thinking of the number of times I've had something like, I've had a couple extra dollars and I gave it to my sister just because she can, because she's 9 years younger than me. So I gave it to her just because. Or I was driving home from McDonald's and there's always one homeless guy who sits on the corner there. And I didn't have any food to give him because I have limited money, but I gave him a water bottle, like bottle full of water, handed that to him, and then I gave him a couple of crocheted hats that I had in the car that were just sitting there and no one was using them. I gave them to him and told him, I know it's getting cold, here you go. So it's things like that. Use your own wealth to give someone else wealth because it's going to mean something to them. Yeah, intuitive reading, super fun. If you guys have questions as I go through these, feel free to pop them up. I know there's a lot of people that are new to tarot reading in the group. Okay, so surprise. I'm going to finish up tweaking up everything on the surprise today, but we are going to do a workshop, as a couple of you already know. We are going to, I'm not going to give the date yet because I want to make sure it's precise, but we're going to go over shadow work. Because all through the rest of this year is going to be finding your fears about being a tarot reader, your fears about who you are as a person, what is inhibiting you from creating a bigger practice for yourself, a more substantial and meaningful practice for yourself. What is holding you back? And how you can finally connect with your intuition to make reading cards intuitively so much easier, and how to start healing from those wounds. So it's going to be all through the end of this year, but this workshop will be coming up end of October. All through October we're going to go over shadow work. So for those who don't know what shadow work is the best way I can describe it. You know when you're walking down the street and you automatically, well, not automatically, but you judge somebody else. Like you get a stereotype in your head. There's this chick walking by with a really short skirt, and the first word that pops into your head is slut. Things like that. Or someone almost runs into your car because he's a lane jumper, and you're like, that guy's an asshole. Obviously, he has no concern for other people's safety. That's a type of shadow work. Only more external. You're pointing out the flaws that you see in the other person. You're pointing out the image that comes across when someone does something. Only shadow work turns that inward. What is it about yourself that sucks? What are you hiding from other people because you're ashamed? Or what are you purposely being ignorant about? Or not purposely, but what are you ignorant about yourself? Things like that. Where you really, it's like putting out all your dirty clothes. You're cleaning out your closet. You're getting rid of all the gunk in your life. That's what we're going to do. And I find it perfect to do this for October. Because this is the time of year when, we're coming to the end of the pagan calendar, if you follow it. We're heading into winter, and what good is stocking up food and supplies for winter and storing them in your home or in your body if you have things rotting in the basement? Or if you have spiders and dust collecting? What good is it bringing in something fresh and something new if you're hanging on to a bunch of things that aren't good for you? Things like that. So, before our end of the year rituals, as we head into winter, we're going to prepare ourselves by clearing out all the gunk. This is going to be like 100 shots of wheatgrass juice, but taro style. You're going to cleanse all that nastiness out. So, keep a lookout. October is going to be shadow work themed. Ooh, creepy things. And it's going to be super fun. So, I hope everybody enjoyed today. I think that about does it, unless anybody has questions. I don't think so, but I'll give it a couple seconds. And like I said, it's supposed to be fun. Like, shadow work does have a habit of bringing up things that we don't like to talk about for ourselves. But it's going to be fun. Okay? We're going to have a long workshop, like we do with this, only it's going to be quite a while. There's going to be free gifts. And we're all going to sit here and either get mad or cry or get triggered together. And we're going to work it out. And it's going to be fun. And you're going to feel so much relief afterwards. It's going to be great. So, hope everybody has an awesome day. Okay? Hope everyone does amazing. Enjoy your weekend. I know I will. I will drink my tea that is surprisingly still warm. Try. Yes. And yeah, I'll talk to everybody later. See ya!